So just before he took the stage and in his speech told people to march to the Capitol, he said he wanted the metal detectors taken down. He had been told that people in the crowd have weapons that they do not want confiscated by the Secret Service. He said, I don't care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing metal detectors away, let them in. They can march to the Capitol from here. As I said, there were a lot of revelations in today's hearing. As we do this primetime recap of what happened, I think it's just worth making sure we absorb that first and I think most shocking revelation today. Lawrence O'Donnell.
Rachel, we spent a minute last night wildly guessing what today was going to be about. I don't think I came close. Cassidy Hutchinson told her college newspaper just a few years ago, I have set a personal goal to pursue a path of civic significance. She needs a new goal for the next 80 years of her life because she's achieved goal one in a way that no witness in the history of congressional testimony has achieved. This is material unknown within the realm of the presidency prior to today. It's known within the behavior of Donald Trump. So I have to be counted as someone who is not surprised that the guy who was accused by his first wife of raping her within the marriage, who's been credibly accused by E. Jean Carroll of rape, who boasted on the Access Hollywood tape about the way he behaves. But the idea that he'd throw, a hamburger, that doesn't even come up to that level. And the idea that he would take glee in what was happening on this day. But to have it delivered in under oath testimony by an ear witness, by an eyewitness of exactly what was going on, brings all of this to a new level. It changes the history of the presidency permanently now and forever. We have an understanding that is beyond dispute of what this was, and the idea that Donald Trump on January 6th was the most confident president since Abraham Lincoln in the presence of weapons, confident that those weapons were not for him. The question becomes, legally, was that a guess? Or the talk about Proud Boys that we heard from Cassidy Hutchinson was something communicated to Donald Trump through Rudy Giuliani, through Roger Stone, from the Proud Boys, from the gangsters who were going to go to war that day, that there will be weapons, and we know where and how to use them.
We also got just the revelation just purely about the weapons, the variety of weapons and the number of weapons that were confiscated. That itself, even regardless of Trump, was news.
And as somebody who lives in the DMV, this area, please understand the other kind of mags, right? The magazines that are in a pistol. Highly illegal in the district. Like, remember, Enrique Tarrio, who is the head of the Proud Boys, got arrested not for having weapons, but for having mags, for having magazines for weapons. That's why he physically was not there on January 6th. He was told by the FBI, get out of town. So let's just remember, it is so illegal to have weapons in the district. It is impossible. This is not Ohio. Right. If you're in Cleveland, and when we were all in Cleveland, there were people walking up and down the street with AR-15s. It's an open carry state. You can walk around with an AR-15 in Ohio. Highly illegal in D.C. So the idea that people were pouring into the ellipse with AR-15s and, whatever else they had, tasers and bear spray, and these things are being confiscated. Yeah. And we all have been to presidential events. You can't get near these kind of events without going through the other kind of mags, magnetometers. So when you have Donald Trump saying, take down the effing mags, and let these people in, they're not here to hurt me. Glenn Kirshner was on my show earlier and said that is the most incriminating thing that we heard today. He knew there were weapons. He knew they weren't for him. They were illegal just to have, period.
And there's also the progression of what we know he knew. Again, take us all back. We all watched it on TV, okay? We all saw the tweet about Mike Pence. We all watched it on TV. We all knew what he did was dangerous and reckless, abhorrent, completely discrediting, should have cast him into the dustbin of history. What they established in a previous hearing was, well, actually, he knew at that time that they had breached the Capitol. He knew that Pence had been evacuated. So then it's like, okay, well, that That does look really bad, that tweet. What has been established now is he knew they were armed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, again, this comes back to the central understanding that I think people still, even people who watch this network have. You saw people contemporaneously. Things got out of hand. They got out of hand, and he was too stubborn to pull it back. He was too in his feelings to pull it back. They didn't get out of hand. This was the hand he was dealing.
Right.
This was the point. This was the plan all along. This was not an accident. This did not go sideways. This went the way that Rudy Giuliani, when he asked Cassidy Hutchinson if she was excited about January 6th, the way he thought it was going to go, except for one thing. They didn't let him go to the Capitol.
Right.
And that's the only thing that didn't go the way he wanted the plan.
Exactly.
I mean, Rachel, prosecutions are not actually about crime. There's plenty of unsolved crimes,
right.
and there's plenty of crimes that aren't prosecuted. Prosecutions are about evidence. Mm-hmm. So here we are, June 28th, 2022. It's a sad day for the United States, no matter what happens from here, because today is the day that there is, for the first time, public under oath evidence from a Trump loyalist linking him to the armed violence of the 6th. As we've all just said here, eyewitness testimony let the armed people in. So he knew they were armed. Why? Because they were targeting other politicians, not weapons for self-defense, even with the ordinances of the city, but because they were targeting other people. That is the criminal intent to hurt others. And he intended to join what he knew to be an armed march at the Capitol. And that intention he acted on to the point of clashing with an agent to a degree that if any other civilian or government official did that, you would be stopped, removed from the motorcade, arrested on the spot. But when the protectee is the danger, that is the constitutional crisis territory. So it's a sad day because whatever goes forward from now, all the options are sad. Dealing with this in an accountable way is difficult for the country. Ignoring it, as many experts have argued, could be worse. But either way, he's been linked to the violence by his own age.
The violence included, and not just, again, not violence that got out of hand, but violence that was planned by people who came armed for that purpose.